Hello, all you awesome people out there. Welcome back to the channel, and we have here a very impromptu surprise video here today, because your boy just got home from the 9 to 5, went to the bathroom, scrolled through my phone. Gotta take the good old fashioned post work dump. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I do that. I come home, I scroll through my phone, and guess what I see? Sad new breaking news today. This shit literally just came out like 30 minutes ago. As has been announced today, Wildlight Studios, the studio behind the shooter Highguard, has announced that Highguard is going to be shutting down on March 12th, I believe it said. So literally 2 months after the game comes out, the game is shutting down. Let's read this article from Polygon here. Highguard is shutting down. Developer Wildlight Entertainment announced on Tuesday the free-to-play raid shooter from former Apex and Call of Duty developers will cease to be playable on March 12th when its servers go offline. The quote: "Despite the passion and hard work of our team, we have not been able to build a sustainable player base to support the game long term." Wildlight said in a statement on X, "Servers will remain online until March 12th. We hope you'll jump in with us one more time to show your support and get those final great matches in while you still can." They're adding one final update before the shutdown, bringing with it a new warden, new weapons, account level progression, and skill trees, and that's supposed to come sometime later this week. Originally intended to be a surprise launch like Apex Legends was in 2019, Wildlife instead took up Jeff Keighley's offer to announce Highguard at the 2025 Game Awards. I kind of cover this. So, I think we all knew this was happening. Last month, February, they laid off half the staff. They claimed they were going to be continuing to update and work on the game, but the writing was on the walls. Especially once that came out, we kind of knew what was happening. I don't think we knew what was happening this fast. I was checking the Steam DB yesterday, and I found out this game has it's averaging like 200 players. It's at 316 right now, but I think yesterday when I checked it was like at 232 or something like that. So yeah, this has a very low player count. And of course, when you are a live service game, your player count is your lifeblood. It's talking about stuff. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about a little of them here and there. I'll talk about a little of it here and there, but I kind of want to go off on my own and kind of talk about it. So I've talked about it a while ago. I think I mentioned it in my news drop. I wanted to do a video on Highguard. I did. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. But there were two things I wanted to accomplish before I decided to start doing it. One was the obvious thing that I said. It was I wanted to play the game a little bit more. I wanted to play the game a little bit more to really kind of formulate my own opinion, really see how I think and what I feel of the game. Something that that a lot of people, a lot of people who talk shit about the game kind of didn't give it, to be honest, but we all know that. So one thing was I wanted more time on the game. And the second thing was I wanted to figure out, because it was such a big talking point in the gaming space, and all of it is like predominantly negative too. So the biggest thing I want to figure out is what am I bringing to the table? What talking point am I trying to bring to the table that's something new, different, or from a whole different point of view? And that was like the biggest thing I was trying to figure out. Unfortunately, it looks like I won't have to worry about that now because they announced that because of this announcement. So. And the 12th is a very short amount of time. It's the 3rd right now, so it's less than 10 days this thing is going offline, which is crazy, especially when there's supposed to be a new update too. I think they said the update is supposed to come tonight or tomorrow, so you only have like 8 days to enjoy it. But yeah, so I guess that won't really have to be a need, since I guess I kind of get everything out about it right now. I will say, first off, this game had the unfortunate thing of having to deal with the internet uphill battle. the IUB. When the game was announced, people wrote it off immediately. I kind of wrote it off immediately. I said that the shit looked generic as hell too. Didn't know what the fuck was going on with it. Yeah, it was weird. You know, people keep talking about they're tired of this live service slop. They're tired of all these live service games. Yet the fucking most played and most bought games are all fucking live service games. So you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, and because of that, there was two things. There was that, the internet uphill battle, but this wasn't just the internet. I think a dev even talked about it not too long after the game, after half the staff got laid off. I think one of the developers came out and talked about it, and talked about how they were kind of made a joke from the go. I'm gonna see if they have it in here. Yeah, here we go. Let's open this up. See if this is the. No, this. Okay, this is just about the releases. There was something about one of the devs who got let go talked about it, and he talked about how the game was kind of made a joke from the jump, and which he wasn't lying. It was. And unfortunately, once the internet sort of targeted in on the game, it was kind of wraps. They were gonna have to do a lot to kind of change that narrative on it. But I will say, this is not just all of the internet and people talking shit on the game. A lot of this was on Wildlight themselves. Once this game was shown at the Game Awards, and it was shown as the final reveal at the Game Awards, their entire marketing strategy needed to fucking pivot. Cause it was announced, and it came out later that they were planning on shadow dropping this. I think they mentioned it here too. They were intending to shadow drop this game. But when Jeff came and he played the game and he liked it so much, he gave them a deal to show it at the Game Awards, which is also probably why that fucking trailer was so weird, because they probably never intended to have anything ready for a promotional run and didn't have anything actually like tangible to give them to show. So that was kind of what they probably just threw that shit together at the last minute to showcase at the Game Awards. But the moment that shit happened, they needed to pivot. You can't shadow drop something when it's announced that it's already coming. So between the release of the trailer at the Game Awards in December to the game fucking launching in January, end of January, Wildlight Studios was radio silent. They didn't say or release anything until the game actually launched. And unfortunately, in that time, it led to a narrative being formed about the game. And let me tell you, as a motherfucker who declares himself as a wannabe writer and somebody who one of the things that gets me into shit the most is literally the narrative. I was never a big sports guy growing up, but as I got when I was younger, but as I grew up, I got into it because I learned that a lot of the biggest thing about a lot of sports is the fucking narrative and the storyline that goes into fucking shit. One of my favorite things, to get a little off tangent here, one of my favorite storylines, I'm a big NBA guy. One of my favorite fucking things is the strange coincidental happenstance that led to the rivalry of the Lakers and the Celtics with in the 80s with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. How they both they played together in college, came from these two whole different separate worlds. One from Lansing, one was from Michigan, one was from Indiana. They both Midwest guys, but they couldn't grow up any different. They wind up on teams that perfectly reflect each of their distinct personalities, and just how they continuously cross paths in the NBA. That's like one of my favorite storylines. And once that narrative got set, Wildlight was already shooting themselves in the foot by doing nothing to combat that. We've seen the same thing when it comes to Bungie and Marathon. When Marathon had a bad fucking rap, Bungie was like, okay, we're gonna delay the game. It's gonna come out later. They did go quiet, but they got to fucking work to fix up what the problems was. And then once they start showing off the game and showing what they changed and the improvements they made, that narrative started to fucking shift. And unfortunately, Wildlight never did that. So when the game came out, it already had this massive negative connotation attached to it. I think it launched and it had like 100,000 players on there. Yeah, so when it launched, Highguard peaked with 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. But not all of them walked away fans, and plenty of them walked away. We just boiled the charts. They're averaging. Their all-time peak was 2 months ago was about 97,000, which by the way is a little bit, which is about launch because the game was only active for about 3 months. So the all-time peak 2 months ago was about the peak of when the fucking game launched. So there you go. Yeah, as you see, when the game launched, it lost to really high numbers, and then a steady decline came right after that. That was the Steam release right there. So and yeah, so and even when the game launched, because I was there when it launched, I watched a lot of stuff. I hopped on when the game launched. And like I said, the not only did the player base shrink, it was also just this whole thing of like people were getting on, and as soon as they were loading the game in, they were review bombing the game from the jump. A lot of people are going to talk about how the Steam review is all mostly negative. Believe me, a lot of that shit was just fraudulent. Cause 100,000 people were getting onto this game at one time. Again, this is Wildlight's fault. I'm going to put that at their feet. This is Wildlight's fault. They dropped the game on launch day. 100,000 people were trying to get on, which led to long load queues. The servers couldn't handle all those people getting on at one time. So it was a lot of people were just sitting. I had to sit staring at the loading screen for a while, about 40 minutes, maybe an hour or so, of just sitting in there looking at the damn loading screen trying to queue in. So first problem, load queues. A lot of people, remember, you have to be on the game for, I believe, 10 minutes in order for you to drop a Steam review. If a majority of people were stuck in the queue line trying to get in, and also when you get in, the game there is a mandatory tutorial in the game that forces you to play through. That in and of itself is about 10 to 15 minutes to play that. So between the tutorial and the fucking load queue, if you couldn't get in immediately, which most people couldn't, how the fuck are people leaving negative reviews on the game in the first 10 minutes of them playing? And if you saw when that shit first came out, yeah, they only played for about 10 minutes or so. I only gave them like 0.2, 0.3 hours on the game. So they only played for a few minutes. So again, a lot of them was fraud because a lot of people just going in there just to leave negative reviews right from the jump. But again, a lot of this, I'm not saying everything. I'm saying they did play a part of it. But Wildlight played just as big of a part in this game failing as a lot of those motherfuckers did too. To just see. It wasn't for like a trying on Wildlight's part. The developer had it. Yeah, so they were listed from the jump. They added a 5v5 mode pretty much immediately when people thought 3v3 was too small and it was too slow of a gameplay. They added 5v5 pretty quick, and it turned into a permanent mode. Not too long after the game launched, they had a quick update where they added an additional new player, a new warden, and some tweaks. But unfortunately, again, like I said, none of this seemed to have really worked out. The player base severely dropped after that first day. And I think a lot of the noise a lot of gamers were making when the game first came out did unfortunately dissuade it from what. Because I've seen the opinions from people who've actually put in quite a bit of time on the game, and it's actually a nice amount of people who say they actually do like the game. It's just unfortunate. The game also kind of wasn't really what it needed to be. Also, the game has a pretty big learning curve too. Like, there are familiar mechanics, but having to put all those mechanics into one, it takes a little bit of a learning curve to kind of get used to. But yeah, that was the point I was making. Yeah, so it's just a massive storm of issues that kind of led to this game's failure. Again, some of it is on the part of the internet uphill battle, but a lot of it is Wildlight themselves. Like I said, they needed to make a marketing change. When that shit came up on the Game Awards, when they saw that they were their last announcement, they needed to fucking quick and fucking change up some shit right then and there in order to make a difference. I even said it. I had a news drop a while ago, and we watched the I'm gonna see if I can pull that shit up. We watched they had a cinematic trailer that dropped after launch. They had a cinematic trailer that dropped after launch. You know the crazy thing is you can't even actually the first couple videos ain't even the game. Yeah, they had this. This dropped. This was 3 weeks ago, so it was after the launch of the game. They dropped this cinematic, and I watched it. We looked over it. We watched it, and the first thing I said is, "Why the fuck did we not get this at the Game Awards? Or why the fuck did we not see this before the game launch? Why did this shit come out after the launch of the damn game?" Because one, it actually explains the game. It actually introduces you to characters. It actually shows you kind of how the fucking gameplay loop works. So I'm like, why the fuck did we not get this before the actual game came out? Because this actually did a lot more wonders for the game than any, you know, this would actually work wonders for everybody to kind of understand what the game is and what it's all about. And we unfortunately never got that. I remember looking at the comments and like, hey, a lot of people, look, you even see it. A lot of people thought the same fucking thing. And it's kind of crazy. This came after the game launched. And again, to my understanding, Wildlight is a very small studio. They're indie, they're independent. There was also another report that came out from a dev talking about how they had to wear, they wore a lot of hats. See, I should have got, I would have got, if I was prepared for this, I would have got all this together before I recorded. But I was like, all right, we got to do this. We're going to do this real quick. There was a... Let's see. Okay, yeah, the concept artist. Yeah, she talked about how she had to wear a lot of hats. So it was like she was doing concept art for the characters. Let's see, being the only character concept artist for the project, and managing microtransactions was a huge challenge for me. So yeah, she only had like 2 weeks to get the character designs to work, and then she had to move on to doing something else. Both of these character designs were from beginning to end 2 to 3 weeks max. 1 week for exploration and reference and gathering, the second week for concept refinement, and another extra in case there's props and attitude sheets to do. So didn't even have a lot of time to do the character art because she had to go on to do something else. She was wearing multiple hats. So that's what I'm saying. They're a small indie studio. They probably didn't have a lot of people from the jump. People probably have to wear a lot of hats. So if they didn't have this ready, I get it. I understand. But again, I don't work there. I'm not a part of your marketing team. Fucking you needed to fucking figure that shit out like ASAP. Like, because again, a lot of it was them. They didn't do anything to combat the narrative. The developer talked about it. They saw everything that was being said about the fucking game, and they still decided to just fucking keep quiet. They probably thought, hey, we just gonna keep quiet, we don't let the game speak for itself. And unfortunately, once the game came out, fortunately the game also didn't do too much. Because again, people liked it, but unfortunately it was just like, people liked it, but it seemed like not a lot of people even like loved it. And in this live service kind of space, again, when you got all these people who playing one game for like 10 fucking years, niggas is still playing Fortnite. Granted, I got games I come back to every now and then over my life. I can't tell you how many fucking times I played Mass Effect over the course of its release. Back, if you count the 360, the PS3, and the remaster, I can't even tell you how many times I done replayed Mass Effect. But I tell you what, I put the shit down and I move on to other shit, and just every so often I come back around to it. I don't constantly stay on that bitch for years. when you got all these games that and all this other shit, like there's a report we talked about how there's so much shit taking gamers' attention nowadays. From like betting to porn to all this other shit. And then of course you got all these live service games that do their damnedest to make sure you stay on. Overwatch just had a whole overhaul. Overwatch is fucking 10 years old. And, and you know, hey, on that same level, Overwatch 10 years old, they had this whole recall, they had this whole overhaul, went from Overwatch 2 back to Overwatch. I played that bitch like 3 fucking times, and I don't think I've been on that motherfucker since. Because that's just how it is. You play it, you get what you play the game, you get as much as you can get out of it, and then you move on. But unfortunately, there's a lot of players out there who just cannot do that. They cannot get off they can't get off 2K, they can't get off fucking Fortnite, they can't get off Call of Duty, they can't get off FIFA, all of that. And that's what I'm talking about when I was saying they can't get off GTA 5, you know, the fucking GTA RP shit. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of like, you know, some of the most played and best-selling games are live service games, despite the fact everybody's saying they don't want more live service games. But that's all they keep playing, and they can't get off of it. What they mean to say is they don't want new live service games. They just want to keep playing the live service games they play. They just don't want another new one. They don't want to try anything new. They want the same old shit. And at the end of the day, that's what I would give this game. It was trying to do something new. It was trying to do something different. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. It didn't do too much to stand out from the crowd too much. And of course, the internet uphill battle got to it. So, also there was a whole thing that they were backed by Tencent too. This still has not been proven true or false at the time, so I ain't gonna speak too much on it. So, next week, that is the 12th is next week, right? Yeah, next week Thursday. Next week Thursday will be the end of Highguard. Again, it's sad that, but first of all, it's sad people lost their jobs when a bunch of those people got laid off last month. It's sad more people are going to lose their jobs once this closes down, and this small indie studio that, you know, was trying to do something new, it ain't gonna work. I mean, they probably should just get. Well, I mean, I don't think they could have gave us Titanfall 3 because they don't own the IP of it. So yeah, I mean, as a fellow wannabe artist, it sucks when you put something when you work on something and you put it out there and it don't work and it doesn't connect with anybody, and then you have to kind of you gotta shutter shit. That's always sad to see, but hopefully, I hope everybody learned their lesson from this, including including Jeff Keighley. Jeff, you gotta learn to kind of manage the expectation for some of these games, my boy. But yeah, so Highguard is shut down next week. Am I going to still try to play some games on it? I don't know. I feel like I will. Just so in the end I can still say I still played it. Cause I didn't play. What was the other one? I never played Concord because I wasn't interested. But unlike Highguard, it seemed like the general consensus on Concord was that it was mid, and like there was literally nothing new, different, or individual about it. It was just another damn hero shooter. And like I said, Highguard at least has the distinct thing of being something different with a whole different kind of gameplay loop. So who knows? I might get on. It may be. So yeah, so there you have it. Highguard's closing. Now the internet can divert its attention. Well, it's kind of already been there. Now they can divert their damn attention to trying to take down fucking what's the game called? Marathon. But again, like this, from what I hear, people who actually play marathons extensively are actually kind of digging it. They liking it. I don't even fuck with extraction shooters. I just had I recorded my video. If my video game is coming out Friday, I recorded my video game thing yesterday. There was a fucking RPG extraction game, and I was like, ugh, a what? An extraction? I don't want to play that shit. I actually kind of dug Marathon. It's only like $40, so I'm like, I can see myself playing this for like maybe like a month or two, getting a couple hours out of it, and then just kind of being done. And I feel like that's the whole. And I think I talked about what talking point I bring to the table. If I can bring a talking point just to this conversation, it's going to be this. I think we as players, as gamers, but of course it's the internet, so motherfuckers ain't gonna do that shit. I think we need to do more practice of just moving the fuck on. If you didn't like Highguard, that's fine. If you played it and didn't like it, that's fine. You played it, you didn't like it, you move on. There's a ton of other games to play out there. If you see Marathon, you're like, I don't know, I don't really like what I'm looking at. That's fine. Move the fuck on. It's these motherfuckers who got a fucking, who nobody is talking to, nobody's having this discussion with them, but they gotta walk into the fucking room, stand on a goddamn table, and then scream their opinions on shit. And just have to force everybody to fucking hear what they like, and then just stay there and just fucking yapping. And it's like, just, if you didn't like it, then just move on. And like, that's all it takes. And you know, a lot of people moved on from this, but unfortunately the narrative happened. So again, if I can make any talking point, is this: play what you like, and if you don't like something, to just say it's not for you and move on. We don't have to make these fucking internet campaigns of intentionally trying to get these games fucking destroyed. It's either going to find an audience or it won't. And if you liked it and you kept playing, good for you. And if you didn't and you just moved on to something else, hey, that's all it takes. So that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say for that. So Highguard is done. Hey, Highguard. And this is the title of I was gonna name the video was always gonna be Highguard, a failure to launch, because unfortunately, yeah, this game, the entire launch strategy for this game was just wasn't it. So alright, y'all. So I'm gonna see y'all all next time. Always remember to stay watching, stay playing, stay awesome, and also, of course, most importantly, to stay safe out there. TV news dropping tomorrow. So until next time, everybody, I will speak to you all later. Good.